What's up, guys? I just wanted to introduce you really quickly to the new villain that I spent 20 minutes developing in the parking lot of the convenience store that I visit every day before work. This guy's name is the Trash MASTA. So this guy here is what I'm calling a gunklin. He is a goblin, but more creatively a gunklin. He's got a box for a torso, which is filled with trash. And he's also got a box full of trash on his head here, which he can use to stick his hand in and pull out all types of weird gears and tires or bottles or whatever he needs to use in the moment to assert his evil gunklin dominance. He's got a magic wrench that he's going to be able to use, kind of like a magic staff or like a magic wand or something like that he can use to conjure trash into vehicles or whatever he wants to turn things into. He could wave it around and basically will assemble trash. He's got this cool pair of swaggy purple glasses on that he found in a trash pile somewhere. I think he just thinks he looks cool with them on. He's got purple boots, which I really like the contrast between the brown, green, and the purple. And the coolest thing that I did with this sculpture is the hair on him. Yeah, that's from my buddy Billy here. I just brushed him and then stole his fur off of the brush and used it as his hair. I just want to introduce you to this new character because I'm going to be focusing the new comic book I'm illustrating on him. It's going to be called Campbell and Kirk vs. the Trash MASTA. And I wanted to give you guys a proper introduction to him before I release the comic book. I spent like 2 days sculpting and painting this guy. Pretty proud of him. I just needed something that I can have to reference when I'm drawing the book. It's something to do with the new characters that I develop. It really just lets me get to know them better. It also allows me to feel them out, or if I need to spend more time on a certain aspect of them. It's the same thing I did for this character Scrappy, which sadly ended up looking a lot like a robot from the Fallout games. I didn't really know that my subconscious was that inspired by that, but still proud of it. I think it's still a cute character on his one wheel and all that. He's got like little light bulbs for ears or whatever, but that's what I like to do with the new characters that I develop. I like to sculpt them just to become familiar with them. I took a lot of advice from my own video on how to create cartoon characters. I wanted to make sure I wasn't being a hypocrite, and I spent a lot of time on him making sure to accentuate his sharp edges and pick some colors that were spooky. He's got these sharp ears, he's got these sharp edges on his box. I made sure to accentuate his torso, all these sharp edges. His eyes are pointy, his teeth are pointy. He's green, which is not really that welcoming of a skin tone, in my opinion, at least when he looks like this. His hair, he's got evil scientist hair. When I was thinking of a cool villain, I really wanted to do something like an evil scientist, and I didn't quite want to do like the traditional evil scientist with the lab coat and the goggles or whatever. So I chose to take aspects of an evil scientist, like their goggles and the pointy hair, and I threw that onto a goblin, which I feel like is not a very inviting style of character in the first place. I'm really happy with him. I think he's scary. I think he's a lot scarier in sculpture form. He's not as scary looking as an illustration, which I'm going to show on the screen here. This is actually the first illustration that I did when I was sitting in the parking lot of that convenience store. And then I sketched and threw together the cover for the new comic book. And then while I was in the in-between time of brainstorming the plot to that one, I sat down for a couple of days and just made sure to spend a lot of time sculpting him and add lots of cool little things like the bottle and the gear and the sand and the rocks and whatever. I just really wanted to flesh him out before I went ahead and continued with the comic, because I found that in my book that I was doing, which I am tossing, I'll leave like a Google Drive link full of all the pages of that book. I'm not going to finish it. Not happy with it. It really wasn't going where I wanted it to go, so I'm gonna scrap it. But I'll leave a link so you guys can look at it. To like, I think I left off at like page 75 or something. But I'm gonna leave a link in the description so you guys can click on it and explore it just a little bit, just so I don't feel like I'm just wasting away all those hours I spent on those pages. I wanted to make sure I spent a lot of time on this character so that when I was drawing the comic book, I didn't get lost in the sauce and like every page develop a new characteristic for him, which is the problem that I ran into in the other comic book. I was doing like a astronaut villain, but each page was a different illustration. I was like developing him as I went, which was not working, and it just made the process really tedious and frustrating. So I'm throwing that one out, and the new comic Campbell and Kirk vs. the Trash MASTA is going to be, I love this. I've fallen in love with the story, and I fell in love with the illustrations, and I'm going with the traditional 6.8 inch by 10.5 inch or something dimensions like traditional comic books are in. I'm gonna throw away my mini comic dimensions because this size is just like super limiting. It's not, I don't know, it just wasn't working. So I'm gonna go ahead and just level up to the traditional comic book dimensions. But yeah, I just wanted to jump on here and show you guys what this guy looked like and introduce you to him so that you have a good idea of who he is before the comic book comes out. So yeah, I'll go ahead and end the video here, and if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, I'll link it below. You can subscribe to me on Patreon, where I introduce this character before I release this video, and you'll get to see the progress on the Camboy and Kirk vs. the Trash Master comic book before it comes out. So yeah, love you. I'll see you guys in the video. Bye.